Hi, it's Alison from the Law School Toolbox. Today we're diving into essential tips for 3Ls who are gearing up for the bar exam.
This is one we get a lot. How do you avoid burnout during the bar? Because I talk to a lot of people that say they suffered from burnout or are burned out or in the process of burning out. So this is something I feel like I'm hearing more and more.
Well, and I hear from it too. A lot of people tell me they were burned out from law school before they even started the bar prep. And so I think that's something to be aware of your final semester is, are you setting yourself up for burnout when you start your bar prep?
Yeah, I think that's true. So this really relates to how many hours can you practically study a week? Not as many as you may be sold that you can practice by your bar prep company, like 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week. I mean, guys, there's not great stuff that's going to happen in those 70 hours. You're just going to end up filling time and not being restored from that time. You're just going to probably kind of lead the fast track to burnout or self-sabotaging behavior, like staying up all night watching Netflix. You want to really avoid cramming into the night. So often I talk about, like, when do you have your best brain to study? Most people's best brains are not at 11 o'clock at night. And so if you're staying up and finding that you're not getting diminishing returns in the middle of the night, then stop studying in the middle of the night, because you're probably going to just lead to being super tired, not being able to sleep well, and that's no good either. So you really need to prioritize quality over quantity. And I would much rather have less hours of studying where you are focused and restored and able to work than 10 hours of burned out study where you're probably not retaining much of anything.
Yeah, and I think sometimes some of this can become a little compulsive, particularly with the MBE, which almost gets gamified a little bit. So it's almost like, oh, I'm just going to do one more and one more and one more, one more. And if it is 11 o'clock at night and you're, should be sleeping, but you're kind of compulsively doing MBE questions that you're not really getting right or you're not really retaining, I just think you got to put some boundaries around that. And I understand it's really hard because people think that they need to do, these insane volume of work. But ultimately, it's not the volume that gets you there, it's the quality. And you're going to be better and more effective if you're studying less in a lot of cases. And again, this kind of goes back to what are you doing in those study hours? Because if it's really active work and you're doing practice questions, you're really looking at them, that's going to be a lot harder for your brain than if you're just passively watching a lecture. But in the end, it's probably going to be leading to less burnout because you're actually like making progress. You can feel yourself making that progress. And frankly, like it's probably more interesting than just sitting there passively watching something.
Yeah, I know. It's just better to get work done. Create a to-do list, cross it off. You get the dopamine hits. It's great for everything.
Yeah, I think you need like a structure. And I think it can be hard to kind of go off script with these schedules that you're presented with. But if you know that this is not going to be the best way for you to move forward, I think it's really, I sometimes just give permission to people to say, you know what, if you know that like watching 4 hours of lectures a day is not as effective as studying an outline for 2 hours and doing a practice test, then drop the lecture. And they're like, but I paid for it. It's like, yeah, but so what?
But you paid for the test too, and it's going to be really expensive to sit for it again. So
exactly. Like, great, you paid for it. That's called a sunk cost. Maybe you took economics, maybe not. But point being, you're not getting that money back. So let's figure out what to do moving forward.
But to throw out another economics term, I do think this is where return on investment is a great mindset to have. What are you getting from the time that you're putting in? And if you're putting in 4 hours and not getting anything out of it, then you need to sit down and strategically ask yourself if that's the best use of your time. So I don't like wasting time because I'm super busy and I have other things that I would like to do if I have extra time. But if I'm not getting an ROI, like if I'm at CVS for 90 minutes and wasting my precious time off doing something like that, that really annoys me. I will not do that again. But, I think that's where you want to keep in mind that you can be strategic about how you spend your time and just make sure that if you're studying, which is not the most fun activity in the world, just be as efficient as possible so you can move on and do something else with your life. It is much more fun to feel that you can go do something in the evenings because you were focused and you got a lot of impact from your studying of 6, 7, 8 hours in a day than sitting in the library until 11 o'clock with other stressed out people who are all just like passively like looking at the screen blankly, not really retaining any information.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not great because you're not studying and you're not resting. So it should either be study or not study.
Yes.
This kind of blending together of like everything into this mushy kind of nothingness is not usually what's going to work that well.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching that one, and come back and check out our next question. And check out Bar Exam Toolbox if you want to reach out or learn more.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe, like, and leave us a comment if you have any other questions you would like us to answer in future episodes.